Hi, I'm Joshua de Lisle, the designer blacksmith, and welcome to the Power Hammer build. Hey? Hey? What do you think? Come on, leave me a like and a comment if you think that was awesome, because it is! Made a thing. I put my maker's mark on it. The first thing that I made with my new power hammer. It's actually going to be a poker, because I don't actually have one for the forge and I need one. Right, let's talk about it, shall we? Leave comments on what you want to know as well, shall we? Right, where do we begin? So, I tried to come up with the most cost-effective way of building a power hammer, and I've been really inspired by Roy from Christ-Centered Ironworks and a few others like who else have I been watching? Maximus the Iron Thumper, and you know, obviously Torbjorn, our man, amazing guy. I'm so jealous of all his power hammers. Believe it or not as well, now this is a story to tell you. If you guys know Dan Moss's channel, Dan Moss, excellent smith, brilliant, fantastic channel. His power hammer used to be mine. Ask him. So that 300 weight Massey, I bought that when my business was doing really well, but then quite soon after I bought it, I ran out of money, funnily enough. And before I'd even had a chance of putting it anywhere, I decided to sell it straight away. So I sold it to Dan Moss, and so that hammer, it was mine. And I honestly, I've been gutted for ages. Obviously that my business had collapsed and I had to give up blacksmithing for a while. But it was like I just reached that pinnacle of what most people hope to achieve within blacksmithing, and then it was taken away, and that hammer was a symbol of that. But Dan, I'm really pleased that that hammer went to Dan Moss, because he's a top fella and he's using it to its best potential, probably more than I ever could, if I'm honest. So let's move forward to this moment in time. Now, all of these materials that I used to build this hammer is actually excess stock that I had from other projects. This 100mm round, if you've watched the videos of me forging the stag beetles, which is on the channel if you want to check that out, that's what I used, and I originally bought a 6 meter length of this 100mm 4-inch solid round to build the way gates in central London. Now that was like the biggest thing that I'd ever made. And we used a massive 500 weight Massey, I think, to actually forge those into the posts for the gate. So I had this as excess stock. The 80mm tube box section and the 50mm box section, those are excess stock from what I had left after building the staircase, that floating staircase, another video. All the other parts, like the laser cuts that you see, the top one is actually the only one that I had bespoke made from an engineering shop next door to me. They got a CNC plasma table. The other parts, believe it or not, were reclaimed off another machine. The hammer dies are railway track. Here we go. That's what's left in the little piece of railway track. You might recognise that from the barbecue forge build video. So I had this design concept. I really was inspired to build a power hammer. One, because I can't afford a power hammer. I mean, they're like $3.5 grand for a basic model. Like a basic model. And after that, you're either getting something that's really beaten up second hand, or they're just... but I've seen loads of people attempt to build a power hammer, and I just had some ideas into my head. How can I improve on that? How can I make it, one, fit in this tiny workshop, two, be really efficient and cost effective to make, because my time is limited, my funds are limited, and I want it to be really powerful. How can I get all of those things at once? So I tried to simplify the design until I kept to this, and it was around, and I used the stock that I had. And to be honest, I would change a few little bits, but not a lot. I think this is working really well. I mean, proof's in the pudding. I mean, way. So yeah, roller skate wheels with roller skate bearings. Why? Well, the roller wheels themselves are very hard wearing, obviously. They're used to for kids to smash about on concrete, so they must be good for this. Shock absorbing, side load, from any side load that it gives. And the bearings, cheap as chips, off the shelf. So that's the thing, it's maintenance free. Absolutely, like, no oiling. Where do I oil? Nowhere to oil. Don't need to oil. Why do I want to oil? Pneumatic cylinder around the back. Now that is the only thing that I bought, other than the compressor, obviously that powers it. The only thing that I bought was the pneumatic cylinder. So actually for me, I probably spent 150 quid, maybe. There was a few bits that I bought that I never used. But anyway, let me show you how it actually works then, shall we? Yeah, have a closer look. Right, so here we go. Alright, let's begin at the power source. So the compressor I've got is a 3 horsepower, 150 litre that comes out. Now, to improve the power a bit more, I could go for thicker pipe, but this is 1/4 inch pipe, I believe. It goes to the valve, so I'm running at 120 psi. That comes out of there to a simple foot pedal. Now this is 5-way 2-position valve operated by my foot, and so that essentially fires air down one of these and actually exhausts out of one of those. But if you can imagine the friction of going out of this pipe and then suddenly having to blow past air through it again, those were a bit rubbish and it was very inefficient. So what I've done is I've got these bad boys. Now those are quick exhaust valves. So essentially, when I fire compressed air in this way, it goes into the cylinder, and then the cylinder goes up. But then when the other valve goes and the cylinder wants to come down, all the air that's in the cylinder has to escape. Now rather than going back through the pipe all the way back to the gubbins down there, instead there's a little ball valve, it's essentially a one-way valve. So it's, instead of coming back, it stops and exhausts straight out the side here to make that air escape as quick as I can get it to do, essentially. Which makes it really quick. Now there is another type of power hammer that runs on off-the-shelf pneumatics like this, and it is Big Blue in America. And now they're excellent power hammers. The only problem is with the reciprocating motion that they install on these powers, so they act like a regular power hammer. That's lots of complexity. There's lots of things to go wrong. There are things to grease, and I don't want that. And actually, controlling it with my foot, you saw the control that I had, and it was awesome. So, there we go. Now, the bolts, I've actually used paper and just, when I've tightened them up, as far as I can get them to go, I've put paper, just to see if anything is vibrating loose. And so far, nada. Nothing is vibrating loose. Not even the ones on the floor. Now I spent £30 worth of concrete to put this in, and as you probably saw, it's because my concrete is only that thick. And so when I first started doing tests and stuff on it, it was just acting like a jackhammer and going straight through my floor, which is, those cracks are already there, but they're bigger. They're a little bit bigger. So, why do I want a power hammer? So, a power hammer is the difference between being a hobbyist blacksmith to an actual business, like to actually properly generate money. And if this will just speed up production on all the things that I want to build exponentially. The thing is, I work full time in engineering and fabrication, and when I come back to the workshop to do more stuff, I've just got no energy. I've got no energy to give to you guys, and I'm just like, what do I do? Like, do I pack it in? And I thought, well, let's think, instead of working harder, let's think smarter about this. And obviously having a power hammer, it does all the work for me. So I can just shove stuff in. And the biggest thing that is going to make this pay money is the tooling that I put into it. So the next videos that you will see related to the power hammer, I've got some tools to make some products so I get stuff out in time for Christmas. So I've still got some of my old dies from the old power hammer that I had at the other workshop that I had. I didn't own that power hammer, I rented it from the workshop. So it belonged to the workshop, so when I left I couldn't keep it. But this die here is for making acorns. You see the negative inside? Just about to see that. So that will go. I'm going to have to create some holders or something so it can go in there, and then I can start forging the acorn key rings again, which were quite popular at one stage. I'm going to make some tooling to make the irises and potentially more flowers and everything like that. But you know what I really, really want to build, now that I have this, is my horse sculptures again. And if you've ever seen the work that I did before joining YouTube, I loved making those sculptures. I got really in there making, but they just took such a long time to make. The power hammer was just an essential tool for making those. So you're probably wanting to know more about how to build it, the dimensions, type of bore size, all of those kind of things. I will be creating some engineering spec drawings for you to have a ganders at. But I need to be cautious about health and safety, meaning I take no responsibility if you kill yourselves with whatever you make. You know, if you can't weld to a British standard, it's not my problem. It's harsh, I know, but you've got to cover yourself. So yes, patterns will be coming available. Leave a comment if you're interested. If no one cares, I'm not going to bother. Simple as that. Also, the engineering company that I work for is interested in manufacturing these, and I reckon I can get the price below £2,000, even lower if I can, because there's nothing to it. There's absolutely nothing to it. Nothing to, you know, once you've got this, it'll last forever, won't it? I mean, what's to go wrong? These, replace these. Cylinder, not very expensive really. So yeah, I think I want to give this a good test run, and then I'm going to design MK2 second generation power hammers, and then they will become available. And it's little things like I want a little bit more space here, so I might redesign these laser cut here just so they're a bit wider. Things like that. Maybe having a tray for catching all of the scale, you know, so it's not going all over the floor, that it just kind of goes whoosh into a bucket or something. I thought that'd be quite a cool feature. So these pillars are obviously hollow. I'm going to get it powder coated. I'm not sure what colour I'm going to have it yet. Leave a link, leave a comment on what you think I should have it coloured. But yeah, these are hollow, meaning I could fill it with sand, and therefore it's another sound dampener. I have these dampeners on the pneumatics. They take a lot of that high pitch out. I noticed the anvil rock ever so slightly. I might want to stiffen that up ever so slightly. But I love the compactness. I mean, look how tiny it is. Who can cuddle their power hammer and get their hands all the way around? I mean, honestly, that is definitely a feature, to cuddle your own power hammer. Yeah? You agree with me? Did I mention the horse sculptures that I want to build again, I also want to create patterns for you guys to build. So I'm going to kind of reverse engineer the sculptures that I make so that you can follow the step-by-step process. Because to make some of the compound curves, you have to have already curved it in the flat position before you then curve it the other way in the compound way, which I will explain in those future videos more in depth. And if you like me building these crazy machines, you'll love the next one that I've got in mind, because I'm going to take my tiny house off-grid with steam power. Let me say that again. I'm building a tiny house for my family to live in on the cheap, and I'm going to go off-grid because solar can't do it so well in winter with a steam engine. And I've got a simple way of building one of them as well. And I know, steam is dangerous. Pressurized containers are dangerous. Everything is dangerous. And you shouldn't do it. But I am. Happy forging a life worth living, and see you in the next episodes. Like and hit that bell button. Subscribe and... I've got so many projects. This is going to speed it up. Thank you. Thank you for staying with me, for watching, for supporting, for buying those patterns, for everything, because that is what makes this happen. Yes. I'm happy, can you tell?